Hi, I'm Bob with Wolfe Ridge. Today I'm going to take you guys on a tour of the Wolfe Ridge 35C compact commercial wood splitter. This one is headed off to New England Wood Splitter to a customer named Tommy. He asked if we could do a video with it, and as luck would have it, I have not yet done a walk around video of the 35C. We have with the 28C, but today is the 35C, and I'll show you guys some of the newer features on the compact commercial since I did the last video. The two words compact and commercial are both pretty self-explanatory, but I'll go over the list with this machine. This is a very low footprint of less than 4 foot by 8 foot. When we ship these, they ship on a 4 by 8 pallet. You can fit it in the bed of your pickup truck. If you've got a shorter bed that would say like a 6 foot bed, the jack leg here will rest on the tailgate, and the tailgate will have to be open. But this will fit in the bed of most pickup trucks. We can fork it right over the side of the truck sidewall, and our pallet forks will go right under here, and you'll still have room to get the forks out from the top of your bed rails. And we've got a lot of people that pick these machines up from trade shows that way, and even from the factory here if they don't want to tow it a long distance. You can see here we've got the drawbar slid into work mode, so it's out of the way. When we're splitting wood, wood will fall off the end here, and walking around the machine we won't be hitting that drawbar. You can take it out completely if you want, or you can even put it in on the back side of the machine. There's also a drop leg on the back of the machine. I'm not using it in this instance because I'm only splitting these 5 or 6 rounds here. But here you can see that drop leg. Maneuverability around the yard with these machines is very easy. You can pull this around with an ATV, a UTV, a tractor. You can pick it up from the side with pallet forks. Got to be a little careful. You end up putting one fork here and one fork through here very carefully. Now the 28C, 35C compact commercials are built on the same beam as our 28 Pro and the same beam design that we use on the RS as well. This beam is made in-house, so we start out with flat steel, gets cut on the laser. We've got formed pieces in the center, and all the pieces for this beam are then tacked up by hand and then welded in our robotic welding cell. So you can see the quality of the welds here. When you get your new Wolfe Ridge, you'll be pretty impressed by the fit and finish and the weld quality that we got here. Log lift is standard on the compact commercial, so you've got that log lift that can pick up to 450 pounds, and it's ambidextrous, so you can swap that. You can put that log lift onto this side of the splitter if you want. Here we've got that cradle that has multiple positions, and you can take it off completely if you'd like. When these machines are built at the factory, we build them all the same way, so the log lift is always going to be set up like this. If you get the machine and you think it'll fit your yard better to have the log lift over there, it's a swap that takes about 30 minutes. For the power plant, we use a Honda GX390 with 12 volt electric start. This engine has a charging system in it as well that will charge that 12 volt battery and can power optional 12 volt accessories like the overhead LED floodlights or the optional hydraulic oil cooler. If you were to get an optional hydraulic oil cooler on a compact commercial such as this, that cooler would be stood up right here. In between the gas tank and the beam would be a bracket, and that oil cooler would stand up right about here. You see this has got a 25-gallon in-house made steel hydraulic oil tank with cartridge filtration here. Auto cycle is standard on the compact commercial machines, and we use Prince hydraulic valves made here in the United States. For auto cycle, what you do is hit both levers. As soon as you do that, the pusher will go all the way to the end here, almost to the wedge, and then it'll kick off one lever and it'll go all the way home and kick off the other lever. When the machines are cold or when you're doing really challenging stuff, it's normal to have to hold both levers. Maybe if you get 1/3 through the split, then you can let off the levers and you can go grab the next round. Here we've got hydraulic wedge height adjustment, up, down, and we've got hydraulic log lift, up, down. Right now I have the log lift partially up, acting as sort of a loading area for my logs. So if I hit the down lever right now, I will be able to lower this with the machine off. See that? If you leave the log lift in the up position with or without logs on it, over time it will drift down when the machine is off, and that's normal. There is a trick if you want to bring the log lift up without starting the engine, and that trick is to basically pull the recoil rope while you are holding the log lift lever up. And each rotation that you get from the recoil rope, that log lift will go up just a little bit. So if you need to tow it somewhere and you've got the log lift sitting on the ground, just remember, you can pull that rope just a couple times while holding the log lift lever, and you can bring that lift up without having to start the engine. Powering the hydraulic system, we are using a 22 gallon per minute concentric hydraulic pump. So the 35C has 35 tons of splitting force, and the 28C would have 28 tons. We are using Magnum big bore splitting cylinders here, and that's going to net us with that 22 gallon per minute pump. We're going to be looking at a 8 to 8.5 second cycle time on the 35C right in front of me. And if it was a 28C, we'd be looking at about a 6.5 second cycle time. See, we are using the tall Magnum push block, 6 bolt holes on each side, and we are using the bronze self-lube slides here. So we never recommend to lubricate the beam. There's no need to. As you start to split with this machine and get it worn in, this will end up, the paint will come off of here, and this will turn into a nice shiny steel. And these bronze self-lube slides have been holding up really well. 4-way wedge is standard, and like I said before, it is hydraulically adjustable up and down. You can get an optional 6-way for this. You can get an optional 12-way for this as well. If you're looking at the 28-ton version, we don't recommend the 12-way for it. You can use the 12-way in the 28-ton if you are looking at softer woods or straight grain stuff. Then it's really no issue. But if you're going to be working on stuff like this oak and you want to run a 12-way, 35 tons is the way to do it. All of our splitters include a hydraulic pressure gauge for troubleshooting, and that's really helpful for adjusting things like the auto cycle detents. If your auto cycle function is ever out of whack, or let's say it's tripping too soon one way or the other, you can adjust that quite simply by adjusting these detents back here. And we have a video in our maintenance and how-to section on how to make those adjustments if you need to. Back end of the beam, you can see there's 4 holes here. That is for adding the optional overhead LED floodlight tower or the optional wedge holder. And you can run both of those accessories at the same time if you wish. We do have these large D-rings welded to the front and the rear of the machine, and you can fit a pretty wide strap and hook through here when you want to strap this thing to a trailer or strap it into the bed of your truck. Here's the one on the back side. So you can see I've got some nice oak rounds on the log lift here. I tried to pick out a few that had knots and crotches in them. So this one has got a knot right on the top. This one's kind of these two are both kind of like double barrels. So I'm going to try and get the camera in a couple different positions to show you guys what I will do with those. I'm going to just be using the 4-way wedge. We like to make small splits here, so I will be taking the splits and flipping them back and resplitting into smaller split sizes. That's what we sell here out front of the factory. And yeah, let's get this thing started up and I'll make some firewood. So we'll come over here and we'll turn the gas on, put the choke on, put the throttle halfway point. Now I could give the rope a pull, and I always recommend, if you're going to do that, pull the slack out of the rope first. Don't just walk up to it and yank, because that puts a lot of added stress on the handle, the rope, the recoil, and you don't need to do it. So pull the slack out first and then give it a pull. But since we've got electric start, I will be turning the key into the on position and starting it. Take the choke off. Now, since this one is going to be shipping out soon, and we're going to be transporting it, I'm going to turn the fuel off. So we're going to move this black lever over, and we're just going to let it sit here and idle, and eventually it'll run out of fuel and shut off. In the meantime, I'm going to put the log lift into the stowed position. So you pull that pin, and then this flip over, put the pin back in, and put the clip in. And again, since we're going to be towing this thing back to the yard, I'm going to leave the log lift up because I know it's going to float down a little bit. I will put the wedge down all the way. And I'm just going like halfway with the lever because I know if I do this one all the way when it's idling, that'll cause the engine to shut off. And we are done. So I put 6 rounds of oak through this machine, and I tried to pick some stuff, like I said, that had knots or some crookedness about it. And you can see that, you know, when you do that, there's a saying that I like to use called garbage in, garbage out. When you put stuff like this in, you're not going to get nice firewood out of it. I mean, there's just no way around it. But I did want to show that this machine can split pretty much anything that you throw at it. So let's take another look here. We've got some other twisted grain stuff in here. Again, you can see like we had grains going here, here, that way. But when I got into the nicer, straighter rounds, we made some really pretty firewood. Look at this. That's a really nice stick of bundle firewood. So there you have it, a quick walk around and a quick test run with a 35C. The 28C and 35C, they both use the same power plants as our 28HO and our 35HO do. So if you're looking at, like, you want to see like what can the 35HO do, this is basically the same performance that you could expect out of that 35HO. And the same thing if you watch a 35HO work, that's the same kind of performance you could expect out of a 35C. In just a couple of days, this 35C is going to be making its way out towards New England. Again, Tommy, I want to thank you for letting me run this machine, get it a little bit dirty. We'll clean it up before it gets on the truck. But it was fun putting it through its paces today. That it did great with that oak. I can't wait to get your feedback, and you're gonna have to let us know what you're running through this machine. Really interested to know what your setup looks like. If you guys would like more information on any of the Wolfe Ridge products, including tech specs, pricing, photos, videos, dealer locator, event schedule, and more, please check out our website, www.wolferidgemfg.com. You can always give us a call or send us an email. I want to thank you guys for watching. As always, thank you for the support. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on what's next at Wolfe Ridge.